Since publishing the last video, which was the boat tour, we've had a few people who've expressed sympathy and commented about the mud and the conditions outside. The thing is that when we came to Trinidad, we thought we would be out of the water for a couple of months, not the rest of the year. And if we had known that this would be the case, we could have planned accordingly and possibly would have chosen a different location for the haul out. But when we came here, we just were not expecting things to turn out as they have. So we did the best with the information that we had at the time.
Leopard did offer a couple of other options for haul out during crossing as we've discussed before we came here. Those options didn't have any sort of concrete assurance for us and left us vulnerable if we had a falling out with Leopard and unable to as easily self-rectify. That said, in hindsight, if I knew the amount and the severity and how long it takes to fix them, some of them like the crossbeam, we thought were part of you believes the crap that you're being told by people and brokers and stuff, saying like, oh, it's just cosmetic, the gel coat's too thick. But then the other part of me was getting contacted by owners who they were like, no, this can actually be quite severe and time consuming to fix. But if I had a do-over with my situation, I would have crossed to the US, I would have got an extended visa, and I would have done this in the US.
We have had the rental car now extended until the end of December. Filming the last video, they have given us a room nearby to store the excess things in that we've been tripping over, which is appreciated because I am quite sick of kicking my shins and my feet on things that have nowhere else to go. It is also fully equipped so that two of us can sleep in it, which is really good.
Sorry, where she's staying on the boat.
So I will stay on the boat with Rose and Tynan and Trent can have a cuddle. We did suggest this some time ago, but nothing came of it. So while it is a little bit late now, it is still appreciated. We intend to do an update on what our Robertson and Kane warranty was worth in future once the repairs are actually done. We have had many updates, but due to the widespread nature of the repairs and the time that it takes to complete them, we've hesitated to give too much detail until things are actually resolved. It's also very difficult for me to edit videos in such a noisy and chaotic environment while also trying to help everyone else get through this period. Trent is still in negotiations with Travelopia, and there are still a significant amount of loose ends and unresolved issues that need to be addressed.
They have been very serious in their approach to safety when considering the repairs, which is refreshing. Now, what I like about the repairs now, bouncing between Travelopia's repair division, which I don't think that's what it was called before we came along. But what I like now is that when there's a problem, they're addressing the root cause of the problem and fixing the problem properly. They're fixing the warranty issue properly from where it's structurally deficient, where there's not enough laminate or layup or something, where there's not enough adhesive. They're not just patching it up or patching up a crack and sending us on our way for it to crack again. They're actually looking deeper and making sure that every single repair, and this is without being told to, they're making sure that every single repair is to a high standard and as good or better, usually better, than what it would have originally been constructed with. Now, that's refreshing for me. It's just extremely time consuming, and there's a lot going on at once, and there was a lot more work than there are people to do it with. with so much care and attention. So you can't just throw people at a boat like this. You need to have the right people, and the right people need to have the right amount of time to fix problems that are, some of them, very, very, very in-depth and time-consuming.
As we mentioned in the last video as well though, these people also need the right equipment to be able to do the repairs. They need the parts, they need the raw materials like the gel coat and the filler, and having that here in a timely fashion in adequate quantities has been an issue.
Now, Robertson and Kane have been providing repair procedures when asked. A lot of stuff doesn't require a repair procedure, or is obvious how it should be put together because it's basic construction. We've not had an issue there. So I essentially wanted to let people know that we are getting repair procedures. There is no requirement to sign a contract to get them. There still isn't, and that's how it should have always been, and that's how it should be. And none of this stuff is particularly advanced proprietary knowledge. I mean, it is just a matter of damage control and not wanting stuff to get out. But I think it's ultimately done more damage, creating a kind of environment where people feel pressured and have to potentially jump through hoops to have things fixed on a new boat. Creates agitation that shouldn't be required or necessary.
And I'm so tired. I'm so tired of not being able to sleep because I'm trying to sort this out. I'm so tired of having to go back and forth with Robertson and Kane, who basically seem to act like they don't believe us that there's a problem.
So it's good that it's not like that, and people can reference us if they're ever asked to sign or agree to anything to get repair procedures for their own warranty claims. So I'm still in negotiations with Travelopia around some quite significant issues, from repairs to costs. The details of this stuff will be wrapped up in their entirety after the boat is fixed. For instance, it was more beneficial for them to agree to a overriding agreement before the boat was fixed, which then takes power away from our position, with the presumption that it was only going to take a few months to fix, which turned into a year. Now, the longer this goes on and the worse it is, well, the more damage they've done to us. So everything needs to be taken into account in its entirety as a whole big picture of what we've been cost and why, and then what they think the right thing is to do about that.
The thing is, like, we bought a new boat from a brand that had a quite solid reputation, didn't have unreasonable expectations, and every action that we've taken is just to be able to get the boat that we put a lot of time and effort and hard work into getting. Trent sold his home to get, and every decision we've made is just to get ourselves out on the water actually using this boat as fast as possible, while also making sure it's repaired properly and is safe. And I don't think that's too much to ask.
So I want to say that I appreciate Travelopia for standing behind the Leopard brand and rectifying the warranty issues and redoing failed warranty repairs from Cape Town that were done by either Leopard contractors in Cape Town or Robertson and Kane employees and weren't done sufficiently or correctly. This is a big decision for a company to do the right thing by choice. How many actually do it? Try and list 5 off the top of your head for a purchase of this nature in an equivalent environment. It's a lot harder than it should be to list 5 brokers that would go to this extent to fix multiple boats. Now, people do need to give them credit for this. They do deserve credit for this, despite the absurd amount of issues with this boat and the absolute disgraceful nature of some of them. They are still fixing them. Now, they're not paying me to say this, but in the interest of being completely objective, people say pessimistically that this is due to the negative YouTube exposure, and that is likely a catalyst for change. But I do genuinely believe there are some decent people working for Leopard that do want to maintain the brand and maintain what they've got there. If Travelopia were a broker for a better quality catamaran, I would recommend them as a broker. The only thing that I would say is it's a shame that they don't put on paper that they will be the backstop in the warranty for if a resolution can't be reached with Robertson and Kane. Now I know that incentivizes Robertson and Kane to handball problems on purpose, but they really need to understand they're in more of a symbiotic relationship. So I would recommend Travelopia as a broker from my experience, but I would encourage them to put something in the contract about their warranty support that I know that people have got unofficially. I couldn't recommend the Robertson and Kane shipyard until an independent review of their QC procedures is conducted and publicised. And I don't mean another YouTube channel who is more concerned about their marketability than honesty doing another factory tour in an organised, clean and sterile environment, and who likely has little to no understanding of boat building. I mean, they need a random visit or a series of random visits over time from a non-player, and be prepared to be on video, because if it takes time to damage a reputation, it should be reasonably expected to take time to restore that reputation and trust. Now I know they've had other YouTube channels to these guys touring their factory, and it's all BS. Unless you have a non-player that hasn't signed anything or isn't looking for a free or discount catamaran from a manufacturer or some other product sponsorship, so they're scared to be critical of business, and operates on a if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all principle, it is a waste of time. Having these nice, placid people go around the factory with wide eyes and not critically assess anything is a waste of time. It's meaningless. Having new owners that know nothing about boats waddling around the factory during a contrived visit is a waste of time. The only way they'll recover this situation is if they critically look at themselves and analyse why things are happening the way that they are. And until I see some evidence of this, I could not recommend the shipyard. It doesn't matter how far they're prepared to go to fix the issue, which is great. If they're prepared to go further to fix issues now, that's fantastic. But if they're not prepared to fix the root cause of some of these issues and analyse why they're going on across multiple hulls at the point of installation, you're essentially agreeing to buy a new boat where you will go, well, okay, well, according to what I've seen online, I'm probably going to have to just reinstall on my own windows. So you're not buying a new boat, you're buying a new boat plus the time and expense to you, not necessarily because they might reimburse you the cost of the window replacement. So from a liveaboard cruiser's perspective, you need to keep in mind, it may not matter on a charter boat. This stuff, they can pump the charter boats out and then the base will fix these issues, which is fine. That's not what I'm talking about. That's a different thing. If you're a liveaboard owner and you're planning on putting all your stuff on a boat and it being ready to do an ocean crossing, you need to carefully consider what state that boat is likely to arrive in based on the state that previous boats have arrived in. And until they're prepared, I think it's perfectly reasonable to have a line or a speed that owners' boats are built at and another speed that charter boats are built at, knowing that charter boats often sit on flat water in optimum conditions and just drive around with the motors on. I think that's reasonable. I think steps need to be taken to go back to that model and back to that idea. And until they start seriously looking at these issues, I could not recommend the shipyard. Some people have treated me very badly. It's unacceptable. But taking the emotion out of it, I'm saying there's things they could do to improve that may cause me in future to recommend them, because they're a big company. The broker's a big company, and you can fix things. They're not irreparable, but marching around certain YouTube channels, the laughable review of a factory that looks on the day more like a hospital,
Yeah.
is not going to convince anyone with any sort of intellectual integrity.
It's all very well and good to offer post-sale support and fix the boat, but why are so many boats with the same problem having to have the same fixes? Just fix the root cause so we don't have to live through this.
We want to say something positive about them. That's not like a compliment, it's like a compliment sandwich. So, we would buy a Leopard over a Lagoon. We'll say that. We'll give them that. We would buy a Leopard over a Lagoon if I had to buy one or the other. We've got very strong opinions on the Lagoon
Yes.
and the warranty package that Lagoon owners were sent for their bulkheads and the attitude of the business, which Tynan will get into.
So I've seen the repair procedure that Lagoon send out to owners for their bulkhead issues on some of their catamarans, and it's just appalling. Like, for an issue like that to happen and then have that procedure made and sent to owners, like they should be sending teams out with the equipment and professional knowledge to repair these boats for owners that are blue water cruisers. And the way that these boats are put together, they're more suitable to a charter market on flat water, and I'd go as far to say a lake boat.
Very funny.
Well, I'd like to say on that note that you would think, with how proud French people are, that they would pony up with some repair teams for liveaboard owners. I mean, they may have, but I've not seen it in the owners group or the Lagoon 450 bulkhead group. They'd pony up and they'd put some decent bulkheads in that boat.
Creme de la creme.
And yeah, that is a French boat, isn't it? It's a French boat. Are we? So, I mean, yeah, that's just not. I'm not gonna. I wouldn't
Say
buy a
nothing.
Lagoon. I wouldn't buy a Lagoon. There's no way. I wouldn't buy a Lagoon because of their attitude to dealing with people. Now we're going to touch on that in this podcast.
Couchcast.
Pretty much what it's become.
Yeah.
What did that guy say in Gibraltar? He
The
had
best day of his life. The new Lagoon 450.
Yeah, he said there were 2 happy days on that boat, when he bought it and then when he sold it.
He let us look through it, and the quality was just atrocious. Like, it was just. And the dude that was selling it was the first owner. I don't even think it was a year old, and he was just like, all I've had from day one is problems. And he goes, I just don't want to deal with it anymore. He goes, I just don't even want to know. It was just, didn't he? He was like, when he sold the boat to the guy that came and bought it, he was like jubilant. He was like bouncing around on the dock. Like, he was like, this is so much happier than.
Yeah. I think the champagne.
It was scary.
Not the new owner.
It was scary. It was actually scary. Like, this like mad look in his eyes. Like I never would conceive of feeling like that, because everything we fix on this boat, it's done to a really high standard, and we're proud of the work, and we're proud of the work that other people have done to the boat. Like, there's no way I would stand there at the end of this and be like, I'm so happy to be rid of it. No way. That's the attitude of someone that's smashed something together and have got rid of a problem that they've averted dealing with themselves. So I couldn't be like that and just do what this guy did and just dump this on someone.